We are here today to speak with one voice, not only as a county government, but as a community. That we will stand and we will fight, and in San Diego County, we will forever defend a woman's right to reproductive choice. We will defend this as a right that has been enshrined in U.S. law and in Constitution since before I was born. Last year, our Board of Supervisors, under the leadership of Vice Chair Nora Vargas, a great champion of healthcare, of women's healthcare in particular, brought forward an effort to have our board go on record and committed in a vote that we respect and protect and will always fight to defend a woman's right to choose and reproductive choices. And the reality is, issues of bodily autonomy are not issues that any lawmaker or member of the United States Supreme Court should be in a position to take away. The unprecedented attacks on reproductive freedoms that did not originate with this draft ruling. They have been a multi-decade effort underway to chip away at the fundamental right of women in our country to have control over what they do with their own body. Has been demonstrated in recent legislative efforts in Texas, Florida, Oklahoma, Mississippi. These are unacceptable. And now with the staggering scope and breadth of the draft opinion that was released, demonstrate one of the greatest assaults on individual freedom and personal choice in our entire lifetime. And as a community, we must stand up and fight back. We want to make clear to the people of San Diego that San Diego County is and will remain, regardless of this ruling, a place where we respect and embrace that right to choose, a place that comes together to support our healthcare providers and service providers in making sure abortion is available and is accessible and is affordable. Yesterday's draft opinion, again, when formal, will create a tremendous uneven landscape for reproductive rights. And we're also here today, the chair of the Board of Supervisors and vice chair and community leaders, to stand in full support of Governor Gavin Newsom, President Pro Tem of the Senate Tony Atkins, and Assemblymember Anthony Rendon, and their call to add to the California Constitution a constitutional right in the state of California for women's reproductive health. The reality is we have to continue to stand up. This is not an issue that you can be silent on. It is not an issue that you can take a back seat on. And make no mistake, this is not just an assault on women's reproductive health. The underpinnings of the tone and direction in which Justice Alito is going with this ruling also put at great risk issues of marriage equality, of access to contraception, and so many additional basic human rights that our entire lifetime we have accepted and known as a matter of due course. And so for everyone out there who is outraged by this draft ruling and by the direction of our country, we want you to know that in San Diego County, we hear you and we support you, and we will not sit idly by. We will continue to do everything that we possibly can to make sure that we are clear and on record, not just with our words, but our actions, that we do everything we possibly can to defend a woman's fundamental right to choose, and to continue to defend all of the rights that have been a part of our way of life, again, for 5 decades in this country. It is disheartening, it is disgusting, it is divisive, and it is just simply wrong. And in San Diego County and California, we won't stand by, and we will continue to make sure that this remains a safe place for access to abortion services. I would like to introduce now a tremendous advocate who has brought such a wealth of experience and knowledge and leadership on these issues, someone that all of us for many, many years have deferred to and relied on for advice and guidance, particularly surrounding issues of choice, and that is Vice Chair of the San Diego County Board of Supervisors, Nora Vargas.
Thank you, Chair Fletcher, and I wish I could stand here before you and tell you that I was surprised by yesterday's information and leak. But I have to say that for over 3 decades, I've been at the forefront of the reproductive justice movement. And for over a decade, while working at Planned Parenthood, we were trying to prepare for this date. And I can't tell you enough about what I felt yesterday when I saw that article and when I read it. And what I felt was anger, what I felt was frustration, what I felt was sadness. And I felt that because thousands and thousands of women across this country are going to be impacted by this ruling. We must not forget that abortion is health care. And what we hear from these politicians is something different. It is really important that when we say that it's going to be left after, for each of these states to be able to make these own decisions, we know what some of these states have been doing already. Most people don't live in states like California, where we have the leadership that we have, where changes are being made, where our governor and our leadership is proposing a constitutional amendment. Most states don't have that. Most states have restrictions that includes bans and attacks that disproportionately impact particularly populations that have already faced barriers, communities of color, populations of low-income communities, people with disabilities, immigrants, young people, and those that live in rural areas that don't even have access to safe and legal abortions. Limited access to healthcare is what we are talking about. There's no lack of choice in no-cost birth control, comprehensive sex education, the cost of transportation, that all of the different barriers that already exist in so many other places in a couple of different states. So I am very concerned about what this means to so many other women across this country. Our communities to be protected, they need to be safe. Access to health care, including abortion, needs to be a priority for all Americans. I will do everything I can in partnership with the chair and my colleagues to make sure that every San Diegan continues to understand that this is going to be a priority for us. And I will also say, for anyone who lives outside of California, I want you to know that you can travel to San Diego and you're going to be able to have access to full, safe, legal abortions. We are going to make sure that abortions are available to all. You're going to have access to healthcare is our top priority, and safe, legal abortion is healthcare. We're going to be this historic moment, and we're going to make sure that every San Diegan and every Californian understands that this is a safe place for all women and for all of our communities. Para mí es muy importante hablar de ese tema para nuestras comunidades porque más de 30 años yo tengo trabajando con las comunidades, particularmente en justicia reproductiva. Este impacto no es un impacto nomás solamente para las mujeres en las comunidades de bajos recursos, es para las comunidades en general en el país. Esta decisión impacta a las comunidades de color, especialmente a las personas inmigrantes, a los latinos, a los afroamericanos, que ya sufren de las grandes cantidades de barreras que existen en este país en cuanto al acceso al aborto en nuestras comunidades. ¿Por qué es importante? Porque el aborto es salud médica. La salud médica debe ser accesible a todos. Yo estoy sumamente frustrada, enojada, que eso está sucediendo en Estados Unidos, en este país, en un país en donde supuestamente nuestras comunidades deben tener acceso a salud pública. Pero no me sorprende porque en este país desafortunadamente estos conservadores extremistas por años tienen luchando para que las mujeres no tengan este derecho a decidir. Así que aquí en San Diego vamos a seguir la lucha, seguiremos luchando para que todas las mujeres tengan este acceso, para que tengan el acceso a la salud reproductiva más que nada, y cualquier persona que venga de cualquier parte fuera de California tenga ese acceso. Además, vamos a apoyar al gobernador Gavin Newsom, a la senadora Toni Atkins y al asambleísta Rendón, para apoyar que se haga una enmienda constitucional en donde se va a cambiar en California para que todas las mujeres puedan tener este acceso. Para mí es muy importante que no dejemos, no hay que frustrarnos, no hay que dejarnos y hay que seguir en la lucha. So it's very important to me that we continue this fight. This is only the beginning. We're going to continue. We're not giving up. We can be upset for a minute, but we're going to continue the fight because this is what we do. We have to make sure that every young woman and every woman in this country and in this city and in this state understands that we're not going to give up. This is not the end. This is only the beginning of the work that we're going to continue. With that, it would be my honor to introduce Bernita Gutierrez, the Vice President of External Affairs for Planned Parenthood. Bernita.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Bernita Gutierrez, and I'm the Vice President of External Affairs for Planned Parenthood of the Pacific Southwest. I want to start off by thanking Vice Chair Nora Vargas and Chair Fletcher for bringing us all together in this moment. I want to make one thing clear first and foremost, and that is that abortion is still legal across the country, and as of today, it remains our constitutional right. All patients, regardless of where they may be traveling from, will continue to be able to access abortion care at Planned Parenthood of the Pacific Southwest. While the recent draft opinion is devastating, it's not the final decision from the Supreme Court of the United States. It does, however, confirm our worst fears that the Supreme Court is preparing to end the constitutional right to abortion by overturning Roe v. Wade. If this is the final decision, it would reverse nearly 50 years of precedent and would have terrible consequences for patients across the country. The threat to abortion access across the country is not hypothetical. Our right to abortion is being crushed right now. The consequences of this impending Supreme Court decision will be swift and devastating for communities nationwide. Overturning Roe means 26 states could swiftly move to ban abortion, including 13 states with laws that could immediately go into effect. That means that the majority of people in this country would not be able to access a safe and legal abortion procedure. This is extremely dangerous and concerning. We know that banning abortion does not take away people's need to access abortion care. Patients who need to access abortion should not face shame and overwhelming hurdles to get the health care that they need. We know the harm that will come from this decision because we've seen it play out in Texas. People who do not have access to the resources and support they need to travel out of state are forced to carry pregnancies against their will or flee their state to seek basic critical care. And of course, barriers to accessing care will only increase for people of color, people with low incomes, immigrants, and young people. And all this is happening while the vast majority of Americans believe abortion should be legal. In fact, a recent Gallup poll found that 80% of the American public think abortion should be legal. We are extremely grateful that our state of California has strong protections in place. And just yesterday, Governor Newsom announced a proposal to institute a constitutional amendment that would enshrine the right to abortion in our state. And we're grateful to our local elected officials who have been strong and supportive champions of reproductive freedom. Now is the time for California to lead with compassion and courage and to stand firmly in support of abortion access for all. At Planned Parenthood of the Pacific Southwest, we will never turn away patients in need of care, even those traveling from out of state. Everyone can still come to us to access the full range of sexual and reproductive health services we offer, including abortion, in a safe and supportive environment. And we're working to make sure that we can handle an influx of out-of-state patients should there be one. Generations before us have fought tirelessly to gain and protect the rights we have today. We are deeply saddened to be in this difficult moment, but this is not the end. We are not backing down, and we're going to continue to fight until all people can decide if and when to start a family. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to recognize the leaders of Planned Parenthood who are here with us today. You heard from the one representative, but we appreciate all of you, and we appreciate the work that Planned Parenthood does, and we value that. I also want to recognize the leaders of labor who are here today standing in solidarity. We appreciate you being here as well, and we appreciate organized labor being represented here. And a special thank you to my dear friend, Councilmember Stephen Whitburn, for joining us as well and being here today to stand in solidarity. In San Diego County, we will continue to fight to make sure that abortion services and reproductive health services remain legal, remain accessible, remain affordable. We will fight to support the efforts of the state to enshrine this in the California Constitution, and we will do everything we can to make sure that San Diego remains a safe haven, and we want the people of San Diego to know this.